Arizona's wake-up call, Iranian hack exposes cybersecurity funding needs. Imagine discovering foreign hackers have breached your state's election systems, not for data theft, but to deliver a chilling political message. That's the reality Arizona now faces after Iranian operatives hacked its candidate portal last month, replacing candidate photos with propaganda images of Ayatollah Khomeini. Secretary of State Adrian Fontes calls this a critical wake-up call demanding urgent cybersecurity investments in his office. Here's what unfolded. On June 23, just 2 days after U.S. military strikes in Iran, hackers infiltrated Arizona's candidate portal. They defiantly displayed a red and black image of the late Iranian leader alongside a message reading, #Khomeini's followers woke up. Our erosive revenge has begun. The graphic even linked to a Telegram channel directly referencing American military actions. But here's what many overlook: this wasn't just digital graffiti. Fontes confirms this attack exposes systemic vulnerabilities his office has warned about for years. Arizonans should be concerned, he stresses, revealing his repeated, and denied, funding requests to legislatures. Now he urgently seeks $10 million to overhaul aging network systems plus $3.5 million annually for continuous security updates. It's going to take far more than a couple bucks here and there, Fontes emphasizes, pointing to persisting security gaps despite recent improvements. Controversially, this funding requires approval from the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, which hasn't even scheduled discussions yet. But here's where it gets contentious. Fontes insists this transcends politics, stating, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. He's personally reached out to Senate President Warren Peterson, who supports reviewing the request. State Representative Nick Copper, meanwhile, demands an in-person briefing, calling the breach cyberwarfare and stressing, Arizona's election systems should never be this easy a target. Crucially, no voter data or vote counting systems were compromised, these exist on separate servers. But the hackers deliberately targeted Arizona's public election results pages, essentially taunting, "We can get to you." This symbolic attack proves even isolated breaches can erode public trust. Now we turn to you. Is Fontes' $13.5 million plus funding request justified to shield elections from foreign interference? Or does this incident reveal deeper flaws in how we prioritize digital defense? Share your perspective below. Arizona election website hack exposes cybersecurity failures, officials criticize CISA under Trump. In a shocking turn of events, Arizona election officials have voiced their frustrations regarding the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, under the Trump administration, following a significant hack that compromised a statewide online portal for political candidates. This breach led to the bizarre replacement of numerous candidate images with that of the deceased Iranian Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, raising serious concerns about election security. While officials have assured the public that the threat has been contained and the vulnerability addressed, they have not held back in criticizing the federal government's lack of support. They argue that CISA, once a dependable ally in safeguarding election integrity, has become unreliable. Michael Moore, Arizona's Chief Information Security Officer, recounted to Cyberscoop that the irregularities first came to light on June 23, during a conference attended by many officials. A user managing the candidate portal noticed an unusual image that did not belong, Khomeini's photo. Alarmingly, it was later discovered that candidate profiles dating back several years had also been altered with this same image. My initial call was to Arizona's Department of Homeland Security, Moore explained. We began troubleshooting, secured that section of the site, and implemented preventive measures to minimize our exposure to attacks. Moore reassured that critical systems, including the statewide voter registration database and a confidentiality system for domestic abuse survivors, are hosted on separate servers, insulated from the compromised network. He emphasized that there is no evidence suggesting that the attackers attempted to access state voter rolls. Investigators found that the hacker exploited the candidate portal to upload an image file containing a base64 encoded PowerShell script, which aimed to seize control of the server. Moore characterized the candidate portal as an outdated system that lacked robust security measures. Unlike many other statewide systems, this portal was specifically designed to allow public uploads. He likened the security situation to a village surrounded by a castle. We have a moat, a drawbridge, a portcullis, and guards on the walls. But when our village needs to conduct business, we have doors and windows open, allowing an adversary to stroll in, disguised as a legitimate entity. The timing and nature of the hack suggests it was motivated by pro-Iranian interests, occurring just a day after the US targeted Iranian nuclear facilities. A telegram message associated with the defacement threatened retaliation against Americans for President Trump's actions. As of now, Moore stated that they have not definitively identified the attackers. #A deteriorating partnership. For years, CISA has played a pivotal role in coordinating election security efforts between state and federal levels, sharing intelligence on vulnerabilities, deploying cybersecurity experts, and assisting during active incidents. However, Arizona's Department of Homeland Security reached out to various federal agencies, including the FBI, regarding the hack, but CISA was notably absent from these communications. In a pointed statement, Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, a Democrat committed to election security, lamented the deterioration of the once strong partnership between CISA and state officials, attributing this decline to the agency's politicization and weakening under the Trump administration. Until 2024, CISA was a reliable partner in our mission to secure American digital infrastructure, but it has since been compromised by the current administration, Fontes remarked. Fontes revealed that he had personally attempted to establish a relationship with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem months prior, only to be dismissed outright. Given their recent actions and the broader trends at the federal level, we have lost faith in CISA's ability to collaborate sincerely or prioritize national security over political theatrics, he continued. This division is precisely what foreign adversaries like Russia, China, and Iran aim to exploit. Cybersecurity should never be a partisan issue. When trust erodes between government levels, we jeopardize our democratic system. Since taking office, President Trump has significantly cut CISA's budget and workforce, dismantled regional offices, dismissed disinformation experts, and drastically reduced the agency's support for securing state elections. Moore echoed Fontes' concerns, stating, "Working with CISA was straightforward and natural until 2024. He noted that under previous administrations, he had numerous CISA contacts readily available, but as of 2025, there are no federal cybersecurity advisors available to them. We occasionally communicate with CISA at a regional level, but we lack the direct support we once had," he added. In addition to election security, Moore pointed to a significant vulnerability in SharePoint disclosed by Microsoft as a clear example of CISA's reduced capacity and willingness to coordinate national responses to major cyber threats. "We are essentially trying to recreate the federal government's role," he stated. In the past, CISA would have spearheaded the response to the SharePoint flaw. "I didn't receive an email from CISA until Monday morning warning about the event, which was too late. The issue began on Friday morning, and by Monday, the damage was already done." A spokesperson from the Department of Homeland Security responded to Fontes' criticisms, labeling them as misguided. They stated, "Here are the facts. In late June, the state requested assistance. On July 1, the Arizona Secretary of State posted a notice on their website and took their candidate portal offline for several days ahead of their primary special election. Since then, CISA has been collaborating with Arizona and has provided direct support for their response efforts." A former senior DHS official shared with Cyberscoop that there appears to be a growing lack of confidence among both the private sector and state and local governments regarding CISA under the Trump administration. This shift has led to a diminished emphasis on CISA as the primary federal civilian cyber response agency. Furthermore, the agency currently lacks a Senate-confirmed leader and has lost significant technical talent, particularly in engineering and technical services, which is challenging to replace. The official, who requested anonymity to speak candidly, noted that the federal government's inaction on critical matters, such as the reauthorization of the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act, has caused stakeholders to question whether CISA is still the reliable agency it was just 6 or 7 months ago. They believe the administration is attempting to reshape perceptions and expectations surrounding CISA's mission, as Trump, Noem, and others have sharply criticized the agency for its election security efforts. My impression is that this is precisely what they wanted, a reset of the relationship with CISA and the department, as well as how it is perceived and functions within the interagency and beyond, the official stated. When they emphasize focusing on the core mission of cyber, it suggests a shift towards programs like Einstein and a renewed focus on infrastructure protection and targeted resources for assessments or cyber hygiene initiatives. However, this has yet to materialize, and what we currently have is a somewhat half-baked plan. Exposed: how easy it is to hack Arizona's election site. Smiling face with horns. Imagine this: you go to check election results, and instead of familiar faces, you're greeted by images of a foreign leader. That's exactly what happened in Arizona, and is a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in our digital infrastructure. The Arizona Secretary of State's office, you can find our official website at https://asiasos.gov/right, is sounding the alarm after a recent cyberattack targeted its elections website, https://asiasos.gov/elections. The incident, which officials believe originated from Iran, involved a sophisticated infiltration that altered the public-facing information about candidates. Here's what went down. On June 23, hackers managed to upload a hidden code, cleverly disguised as an image, into the candidate portal of the website. The very next day, the attackers replaced the official candidate photos on the election results page with provocative imagery. The most striking example? Photos of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the former supreme leader of Iran. This choice of imagery strongly suggests that the attackers were either state-sponsored or sympathetic to the Iranian government. But here's where it gets controversial. While the attack was detected relatively quickly, minimizing its immediate impact, the incident raises serious questions about the security of our election systems. The Secretary of State's office emphasizes that the attack was caught early, but what if it hadn't been? What if the hackers had been able to manipulate vote counts or spread misinformation? The potential consequences are chilling. Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, https://asiasos.gov/about-secretary/Adrian-Fontes, is now calling for a significant investment in cybersecurity. He's requesting $10 million for immediate upgrades and an additional $3.5 million in annual funding to modernize and secure Arizona's digital infrastructure. This funding is crucial, as the Secretary of State's office has repeatedly requested money to upgrade its legacy security system, but those requests have been denied. This is a critical point. Without adequate funding, the state risks future breaches that could have far more severe consequences, including a loss of public trust in the very foundations of our democracy. State Representative Nick Cupper, https://www.azlg.gov/house-member/legislature =57 session =129 legislator =2367, a Republican from Surprise, has taken swift action. He sent a letter to Secretary Fontes, demanding an in-person briefing for all Arizona lawmakers. Representative Kappa's statement is clear: Arizona's election systems should never be this easy a target for foreign adversaries. This wasn't a prank, it was a politically motivated act of cyber warfare, and we deserve answers. Every legislator has a responsibility to understand what happened and what's being done to keep it from happening again. And this is the part most people miss: the attack isn't just about defacing a website, it's about undermining the integrity of the democratic process. It's a form of cyber warfare, designed to sow discord and erode confidence in our institutions. Could this be a sign of things to come? Are we prepared for increasingly sophisticated attacks on our election systems? What do you think? Do you believe the proposed funding for cybersecurity upgrades is sufficient? Do you think this incident warrants a deeper investigation into the security of election systems nationwide? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about how we can protect our elections from future attacks. Note: if you spot a spelling or grammatical error in this article, please report it here. https://www.azfamily.com/page/send-us-your-feedback/right bracket. If you have a photo or video related to a breaking news story, you can submit it here. https://www.azfamily.com/community/user-content right bracket. Copyright 2025 KTVK/KPHO. All rights reserved.